Good morning, everyone. It is a wonderful morning here in the land of the living. This is Thriving Thursday. I like to think of it as Thriving Thursday because we're getting close to the end of a work week, and normally it's kind of like winding down, but you still want to give everything to this day as you get closer to the end of the week. Don't, start, pulling back, and you want to continue to give more. Is when you're playing ball, when you get to the fourth quarter, that's not the time to let up just because it's coming to the end of the game. That's when you turn it up. So Thursday is thriving. It could be Throwback Thursday, but I don't have any throwback pictures to share with y'all and all of that stuff. So I like to think of it as a Thriving Thursday. I am so glad. Good morning. Good morning. I'm so glad that we are coming to what seems to be this Sunday is the end of our 21-day fast, and that's when we are intending to end our word of the day. But nevertheless, while we're here, let's get into our word of the day for this Thursday morning. We're going to be in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. This is a very familiar passage of scripture. All of them are very familiar passages of scriptures. And we're just taking keywords out of these and just diving a little bit into these words. Hebrews 12 and 1. I want to talk a little bit about this, and it's familiar, but here's what it says. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is before us. I want to talk just for a moment about you are not alone. You are not alone. If we were in a service or an in-person setting, I'd probably say, tell your neighbor you're not alone. And you're not, because you're sitting right next to him. But you are not alone. And I think it's important because ever so often we go through phases in our lives, some may be longer seasons than others, where we may feel alone. We feel alone with making certain decisions. We may feel alone given the circumstances that we're facing, given the positions that we're in, given the way we feel about certain things, about certain places, definitely about certain people. But you're not alone. You're not alone with thinking the way you think and what you're experiencing and what you're doing. It may be something that you're facing where you're thinking, no one has ever faced anything like this. And I don't understand why I have to deal with this, and why am I being put in this situation, whatever the case may be. But where you are in your life, whatever your experience, whatever you've encountered, you're not alone. And Hebrews chapter 12 and 11 and 12 lets us know that. But Hebrews chapter 11 records remarkable feats of faith accomplished by various patriarchs of the Old Testament. And it's important because we see that these are people who have been through some tremendous circumstances. They were given a word from the Lord. They were given a task from the Lord. They were given a charge, something that they had to accomplish. And it seemed like they were the only ones that were experiencing what they're experiencing and going through what they're going through. But all of these examples are for our strength, are for our record to go back and see that there were people who were just like us and that we are not alone. How do we know they're like us? Because they were not perfect. They did not go to the finest of schools. They did not have the best neighborhoods. They did not have the absolute most wonderful circumstances. They were imperfect people. They made mistakes. They deliberately sinned. They have been involved in some things that they should not have, and all of these other things, and God still used them, and God still got the glory out of what he wanted to accomplish in their lives. And he's doing the same with you and I. So let's dive into this. Hebrews chapter 11, in chapter 12, 12 verse 1, the writer writes that we are encompassed, wherefore seeing we are encompassed about with so a great cloud of witnesses. I want to deal with this phrase, encompassed about. We are encompassed about such a great cloud of witnesses. That phrase encompassed about is taken from the Greek word perikemenai. It's actually two words. Peri literally means to be completely enriched by something. And kemenai literally means to lay down or to lie down. And so when the two words are put together, they mean to lie around as if something is piled around you very high, stacked, one on top of the other, on top of the other, on every single side, to where you can't do anything but look and see whatever it is that is all stacked around you. And what the writer is saying is that what is completely all around you, stacked very high, is examples of people who are just like you. Examples of people who were in certain circumstances, but they didn't give up, who were faced with certain challenges and didn't give up, who had experienced some of the very hard, most difficult times, and yet, by the grace of God, they received strength not to give up. And not only are all of these examples encompassed around you, everywhere you look, as high as you can look, you see these examples. And not only are you seeing these examples, but these are individuals, watch this, that are cheering you on, that are your cheerleaders, that have the bullhorns, that are telling you, don't quit, you can make it, keep going, you're being strengthened, I've been where you've been. It may seem like it's dark, it may seem like it's difficult, just keep going. These are those examples. And so we look at the example of Noah and the fight he endured, Abraham and what he endured, Sarah, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Gideon, all of those. Gideon, who was going to a battle with an army that outnumbered him multiple times. And yet the faithful few that he had, that small 300 that God had given him, he was able to accomplish more with less because he had God with him in the battle. This is something that we have to take in consideration, because the Bible is packed full of examples of those who heard from God, who took his word deep into their hearts, and who refused to go any other direction but what God had given them to do, and to fulfill the promise and the task that God had given them. The task that God had given them, and God fulfilled his promise to them. Never get to a point of thinking that you're alone. That's not even in the spiritual realm. This is even in the natural. God will show you and reveal to you people here and today that is going through the same thing, And this is not to have a pity party. This is not to link up with people and to talk about the problem and to talk about how things aren't working out. This is the time for encouragement and a time for linking up and a time for saying, listen, I've been there and you can make it. I understand how difficult it is and you can make it. And finally, I bless God that we serve a God who know what it's like to cry, who serve a God who know what it's like to feel emotion and to feel pain, who know what it's like to love and to be hurt and to grow. We serve a God who knows and understands everything that you feel and everything that you're going through. We serve a God who has come down to be with us, who was born in the flesh, took on the flesh and human form and walked with us and was able to be with us and break bread with us and show us the example of the kingdom and what his kingdom is like. And guess what? He's coming back again. So be encouraged and know that everything that we do and how we go about our day today, we are not alone. Our prayer today is that the word, through God and through his word, nothing is impossible to those who believe. Just take a moment and believe today and just know that with God, nothing is impossible. And he has given you examples piled up as high as your eyes can see all around you of people who were just like you, and they're cheering you on. Our confession for today is we confess that we have victory over challenges. We have the victory over the challenges, and we have examples that are cheering us on so that we can continue to be encouraged to go forward in God's strength. I hope this was a blessing for you today. Go forward in God's strength. You're not alone. We thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you again tomorrow. Same time, 7 o'clock here for the word of the day. Have a blessed and wonderful day.